Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. I was going to go for the smooth transition. I was like, nope, off. But today's episode is an interesting one. The back half, I think, is going to be the most fun. I was reluctant to even make this a topic, but also the main purpose of the live show is being topical. And so it being one of the hottest sensations of conversation right now, you have the UnitedHealthcare CEO and the incident that surrounded that. Try to be careful on how we talk about this, please. But they have
me?
Yes, but I'm talking to all of us. Doug too, because you're always the culprit. But
I'm a good little boy.
Oh wow.
Man.
That was probably a trigger there.
but they got the culprit, cheesing at a McDonald's. So that's going to be a fun conversation to kick us off. But Doug is going to be the second topic because Doug's got beef with Amazon drivers. They just be out here wilding, and Doug has no patience for it. And finally, Ohio's Supreme Court denies the existence of boneless chicken wings and says that a person who ate a boneless chicken wing and choked on a bone did not have a reasonable suspicion or a reasonable expectation that there wasn't a bone in there. I shit you not. So that's kicking. That's going to wrap up the episode. So hang out with us. But that being said, in the pickle gallery, the lone survivor, Silent Destroyer. Silent, how you doing, my good friend?
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm doing great. How you guys doing today?
Doing well. How's the day? What's the weather like in Toronto by you?
It's actually nice today. It's about like 48 degrees today. It's not like 5 or 10 Fahrenheit anymore. It's 6 degrees Celsius. So it's actually pretty decent today. I can't complain.
Good. For us, it's been freezing cold, but at least today
Here too.
Rainy, but kind of
rainy
nice.
as well here too. Yeah, it's been
similar
rainy,
to what you
and
guys
the rain
had,
the rain kind of broke the cold, so it's nice.
Yeah. So again, thanks for joining us, and we got a fun conversation to kick us off.
Of course, let's get it going.
My co-host joining me on the co-chair today, Will Hubert. How you doing, my good buddy?
Dude, I want to wage war with Toronto right now. He's talking about the weather.
News right before.
Dude,
Yeah.
You went through that whole thing. I missed the third topic. Like, that's just on my mind. We'll get back to the chicken wing.
Wait,
but
why you got beef with Toronto? You got to tell people.
all right. Apparently, the Cleveland Indians, formerly Guardians, because they're no longer them to me now, traded Andres Jimenez to the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know what we got in return, and I don't
Click it
care.
over here.
Well, yeah, why?
This is where he's going.
Has it actually been confirmed, by the way? Has it actually been confirmed, or is it just a rumor?
Adios. Enjoy the rainbow land.
Dude, unless we traded him for Bo Bichette straight up, I will be super
Will, has
pissed.
that been confirmed he's going to
No,
Toronto?
I have no idea who we got. All I know is our 3-time Gold Glover, best defensive player in baseball, is now going to Toronto.
Yeah.
Feels great, man. Feels great. Let's talk about this shooter.
All right, and on the keys, as always, can't do without him. Dougie Fresh. How you doing, Doug?
Or just dandy?
Dandy?
Just dandy.
What does it mean to be dandy?
Doug, I like that
Means I'm
shirt.
dandy.
Yeah, Doug's not afraid to rethink.
No.
All right, let's kick it off.
Never.
So, like I said, first topic. Everybody kind of knows what happened. If you're not familiar, just go to Twitter. You can see it yourself. I wouldn't. I don't think you really need to see the video. It's pretty. But CEO of UnitedHealthcare, the most predominant healthcare insurance provider, the CEO was pew-pewed straight in the middle of the street.
Dude, it looks so Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my goodness, right? Guy in a hoodie walks up with like a very low caliber pew pew and takes him down. And now here's what's crazy. So again, unraveling all the kind of peculiarities that surround this thing. One of the funniest parts, did you know a guy who found the news that he left on like a bird bike or one of those electrical scooters?
Yeah.
Some guy broke the code into the bird scooter website, hacked into the geolocation, for all of the scooters, found the scooter that was at that location at that time, then traced it to the end of this pier, and he told the police, yeah, here's this. He's at the end of the street. He beat the police. Just some dude in Manhattan's just like, wait, you telling me you left on one of the scooters?
You ever hear that story? Joe Rogan talked about it on a show about Shia LaBeouf.
Oh my gosh, with the flag.
That sounds just like that.
So for anybody that doesn't know, Shia LaBeouf, in protest of Donald Trump's first election, he put a flag up where he said first he did this little thing in a live feed for 24/7. Everybody standing out in front of it saying, he will not divide us. He will not divide us. He will not divide us. People kept trolling it. People kept finding the location. And so it turned into such a thing, and antagonistic events or scenarios kept unfolding. So to kind of disperse a lot of the tension, he put the flag in a secret location, but just a random flag,
right,
and a feed filming just the flag, nothing else, no mountains, an upscape at the sky.
Yes.
That's it. And, you know, it was this, he will, and the flag said he will not divide us or whatever. The people were able to geolocate where this flag was based on the stars and the sun, how the sun like set, and they were able to geolocate it by the stars. Incredible. But again, that's the amazing. Okay, just like Don't F with Cats. If you have not seen that on Netflix,
yeah,
absolutely amazing. And that speaks to the marvel of the human hive. So I just love some kid with a computer beat the New York PD in finding this guy.
Dude, some professional gooner just helped solve this mystery.
Okay, can we get to that too? So you say professional gooner. How about the day this thing happens? This is the news. This is the news. Oh my God, he must be a professional. Top tier professional. One of the greatest assassins of our time. Nobody better, nobody more professional. And then they find him. So first off, it turns out to not be very accurate, but they say, or they were trolling him saying he got caught at a McDonald's because he pulled his mask down to hit on one of the workers. Now, this is the picture that first circulated. But, you know, not a good-looking guy. I don't think this is totally accurate. Okay. Do you know how many doppelgangers there are of just people naturally based on the statistics of, I don't know, 350 million people in a society?
Sure, yes.
So, like, how do you know it's him without like fingerprints or what? Again, that's just me. But this is the first picture we get. Now they catch him at a McDonald's, and this is like the more recent photos that are. Hold on, I gotta find it's him like just eat. There it is. It's just him eating at a McDonald's, and so the reality is, I don't think it was him hitting on a girl or whatever that the media was pushing. I think it was he was trying to eat a hash brown, and, you know, Mickey D's is going to get the best of all of us, okay? Whether it's you either eat to kind of like, what's the Batman phrase? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. So you either die eating the hash brown, good looking like a Harvard Italian, or you eat enough Big Macs to die looking like the movie The Whale. So
there are cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Like everywhere now, it seems. Like no,
especially in New York. Yeah, especially in New York. Exactly.
Yeah, you're constantly being monitored.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought there'd be a camera on a McDonald's.
Well, so again,
this guy's eating a hash brown.
Yeah, let's land this plane. So he goes best and most incredible assassin of all time. I don't know if we'll ever find him. In and out like a pro. And then who does it turn out to be?
Yes! You just got Luigi.
Turns out to be Luigi. His name's Luigi. Matt, I'm not even gonna say his name because
like
you know what?
Magnio.
It doesn't matter. Because on the Rethink Tank, we don't glorify these folks like the news do. You know, we're just here to
Or Twitter.
theoretically dissect this. Yeah, you want to go figure it out? Go to Twitter. You're here. We're just here to philosophize, like this guy.
From now on, he'll just be called Ouija.
You just got Luigi.
He just got Ouija.
He hops on the scooter. Woo!
I find it.
Do.
This whole thing's bizarre, and I feel like it shouldn't be.
It's goofy, dude.
It's goofy. Everything that's happened after the fact
Yeah,
is
let's
more.
get to that.
It's almost more goofy than what actually happened. It's like the Hunter Biden pardon. It's like insane to think about. It's like, wow, yeah, I guess that happens now.
But talking about the post event, you've really seen a dark side of people. It's incredible how many people have like turned to this like vicious, I'm glad it happened to who it happened to. You know, when we were talking about it earlier today, it's like, do you think you solved any problem with this? They had a CEO replacement within the hour. We were talking about COO was making decisions 10 minutes after the fact. Like, if you don't, oh my God, stocks are being affected. We've already got a man filling in the shoes. You didn't solve the problem. You took a father off the streets. And one last piece I want to add to that point. I sit here with all this virtue and the purpose of this project, right? The Rethink Tank. But my dad says all the time, like, if somebody came to you with $50,000, to me, that is not worth it. But my dad's like, anything. You are at a deficit right now. My dad would slap me across the head and be like, what are you doing? Take the money. And so in that world, are you going to be so self-righteous? Are you going to be so self-righteous and say you wouldn't take a job where you are in charge of a quadrillion-dollar company? Are you lying to yourself? Now, again, put yourself in those shoes. You may not want to, you believe you won't be so vicious and I would have a virtue when I do it. Right. But at some point, you had to become a type of person to get there. But let's just say you just were dropped right into there. You are now this person. You can be in charge. You have to recognize your role, or else you lose your job. You lose the thing that's feeding your family. I mean, do you see the joy in your kids when you can buy him Disney World? You so badly want to do that. That's what you're on this earth to do. You're working not for the hell of it. And so if you got to that point, you're telling me you wouldn't take that role. And that role tends to look ugly to the public eye, but there's only so much he could do. Now, the greater macroscopic view is, I think the solve here is you force remove all insurance, period. Fantastical theory, not realistic, not bound by reality. But if you could create such a reality, that would be the best one. We were in a meeting today learning about the city's new insurance.
I know, what a coincidence.
Oh, the world, the ethos in this fabric is all connected. So the guy is talking to us and he's telling how they now have a pill that can solve child blindness. If you take this pill, you can okay, wow, the magical wonders of present day and future medicine. Oh, but the pill is $1.5 million. And so now you need insurance. I would strongly make the argument that you could not even charge $1.5 million for a pill if we didn't have insurance. That's just the ceiling to the market. That's how it goes. Right?
Yeah.
Well, supply and demand.
Yeah. Basic. Yeah.
You know, I think I'm not knowledgeable enough on the insurance side of it, especially when it comes to medical insurance. You know, like auto insurance, homeowners insurance, I can understand. But I want to go to your point about the sacrifice that guy probably individually made as just like a worker bee, like
That's
in
what
our
I mean.
society, right? It's like,
and
the way he's talked about online is like he
Yes.
was appointed like from birth to be the CEO. It's like, dude, at some point,
like he was Emperor Palpatine.
I know. It's like nobody knew who this guy's name was until after he got shot dead. And it's a tragic thing. Like they make him sound like this was like a Bezos level CEO that was killed. And it's like nobody knew this guy existed. I'm convinced the only guy who knew this guy existed was the guy who shot him.
Yeah.
And now everybody knows that this guy exists and he's dead. And
Woohoo!
he got Ouija. It's tragic. It's my biggest disgust from it is like just like you brought up like the bloodbath, like the kind of like they want blood on Twitter. It has become so normalized now.
Yes.
Like it's so like everybody like get him. And there are people in this world that you should get. Nobody knew who this guy was.
Yeah, that's like, dude.
Like, who was this guy? I didn't even believe this story when I read it. And then I read UnitedHealthcare CEO probably 10 times before I was like, what's his name? This man must have a name, right? And then I read his name. I immediately forgot it.
Yes.
Because he didn't even know his name. He's just, I'm the guy who talks to the investors, right?
Yes.
The board.
I am the company puppet.
And I don't know what this man's motivation was. I'm sure he's going to have a manifesto out there.
He did.
And
so when he got caught, he had a manifesto in his bag.
And I'm sure everybody online would be like, speak your truth, king. And I'm going to read it and be like, wow, you solved nothing.
Yeah.
But good for you. Hats off. Yeah, I find it bizarre how young the kid is. Like, he's 26. Like, if you really think about it, the dude got off his parents' health insurance for 1 year and he was like, this is bullshit.
Back to peculiar, unravelings from this thing. He had a YouTube channel where YouTube video was released that said, if you were watching this, this means I was arrested. And then it had like a countdown, like a movie countdown on it. And then at the end of the countdown, this part was cut at the end, but the original video said, the rest unfolds December 11th. So that's tomorrow. Hey, you never know. Some juicy things may come around the corner, but YouTube banned and shut down the channel. And there are elements to this that makes it seem like it wasn't just him.
Yeah.
It's like a team. And so maybe there's more to come.
I thought I saw something that he had in the manifesto where he was just like, I'm putting it out there right now. This was a low man operation. Like, he's like, I have respect for the FBI and stuff like that. And then I was just like, all right, maybe this is a psyop, because why would you write that?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. I could have sworn, maybe
crazy.
the tweet was lying, but I could have swore I read something along the lines of like, he was very open and saying like, this is a one-man thing. I did it myself. And I was just like thinking in my head, I was like, oh, so you're not the Joker.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like some grandmaster's scheme. You just seem like a pissed off kid.
Yeah.
Who probably felt driven to this point. I don't know his history. And here's the problem is, I don't care what his history is. I kind of look at him and be like, yeah, dude, you're a cold-blooded killer.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, no, like this CEO, what detrimental decisions did he truly make in the end that made this world worse off? I'm sure he made choices that disallowed people to get access to healthcare. But it's like, we live in a country where like it's not a God-given right that you get healthcare, for better or worse, whether you agree with that or not. But if you're the worker in charge of that, like, you're going by your business standards. If you don't qualify, you don't qualify. Pop, pop, pop. Like, and
let me ask you this. Is this a sentiment to the radicalization by universities?
It could be.
Right? Because this is a brilliant Ivy League student.
Yeah. How brilliant could this kid be if he's like, my manifesto said it was just me, I'm the Joker, baby, and he's just like, I don't believe he's that genius.
What does that say about our society when on paper it says he is more genius than you and I, and even Doug?
Well, he's going to be really smart.
Genius.
Yeah.
If that's the case, and he's going to be really smart behind bars because I'm not in jail. That's
what I mean. I mean, like, I think a lot of what makes up universities is phony. It's turned into a financial scheme.
I agree. Yeah.
So on paper, this guy is one of the most sophisticated, brilliant members of society. If he didn't think about this, the day he's sitting in his living room and he's packing his book bag to just go play GTA 7 POV, and he
I was like, where are you going with that, Joe?
So he could have just like put the book bag back down and watched a movie. Could have done that too. Had he done that, he could take his resume and go anywhere.
Yeah.
So what does that say about our society when you and I never like were even posed with like, do I do this today? Nah. Like, you and I never even made that decision. We're playing baseball. And this guy's like, I think so. I think today's the day. Like, but our society goes, you know who is the superior member that, without a doubt, should carry the chains? It's this guy, Luigi.
It's Luigi. I just think like you brought up, like we're looking about playing baseball, maybe going out to the bars, socializing, enjoying your weekend. If this dude's IQ was so freaking high, why didn't he just work? I don't want to look at it yet. I want to get my point out. Why didn't he just work in the healthcare system and try to help it from the inside?
Because
if he's that goddamn smart, that's what I'm saying. Like, this doesn't. And all I'm going to hear about this kid forever is going to be like, oh, he was Unabomber level genius. It's like, was he?
No.
Is he though?
No. Hey, here's the deal.
I think he's a radicalized kid who felt trapped in a corner for whatever reason and felt like this was going to be a change. I don't see what it accomplishes. I don't see what it changes. There's already a new CEO, and his name's probably Brian Thompson as well, because they're all interchangeable at that point. Like, this wasn't like a revolutionary CEO. Like, he's literally, it's not like he's a Bezos investor. Like, he's like really changing the game. No
Elon Musk.
Exactly. Like, this guy just answers to the board. He tries to bring up the shareholder value for the investors.
He's an employee. Yep. He's still an employee, even though he's the CEO. Yeah.
What did this guy really make decisions that were like, this evil man? Couldn't even name him. Couldn't even name him. I saw a photo of him and I was like, this guy? This guy. And then I felt bad. I was like, this guy's dead. For what? For what?
What are you doing? Like the job stopped.
And I know if people on Twitter see me rage about this, they're like, this asshole doesn't get it. And it's like, I don't. Explain it to me. Maybe I'm clueless. And then I'm going to look at the end of the day and be like, I got to defend the cold-blooded killer? Like, that's the hero? What was his name? Not Peter Pan.
Captain Hook?
No, not Captain Hook. No. Totally different film franchise. Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Like, this is the Robin Hood, the cold-blooded killer.
No, okay. So I can appreciate your perspective where you think it's a lone radicalized, idiot.
I don't think it is. I'm just saying that because
I think it's a collective of like 6 dumbasses.
One would call it
6 genius idiots.
I don't think it's like, an army of 20. Doug, what were you going to say something?
I would call it a group of jackasses, just like the TV show.
Oh,
there you
wow.
go.
Yeah,
There
maybe
you go.
they should start filming because
So a couple of Steve-O's. So
I heard he was an IQ.
he's a Harvard winner too. So I don't think it was like Anonymous. Anonymous is like a network of multiple rogue networks. Like, right? Like, it's not one cohesive thing. It's a bunch of pockets of people that identify as anonymous, and they all associate with each other because they all share a common goal. That isn't this. I think it's 7 or 8, again, dumbasses that shared probably like a dorm.
Yeah.
And they were getting drunk together, and they would see what anonymous people and those types of groups are doing. And we got to do something like this. And they go, we just got to do our one little piece, be the one little domino. And this is what they concocted. I think genuinely, I do think you're going to see something stupid tomorrow. Like, I think tomorrow we're all going to be scratching our heads and go, wow, brilliant video. You guys have changed the world.
Dude, I can't and here's the thing. I do agree with you. This wasn't a lone dude. Somewhere out there right now, Mario is at the computer waiting to upload the video tomorrow, being like, this will show him. And then it's going to come out and everybody's going to watch it. And your more rational, probably common sense people are being like, yeah, I knew that. Or, okay, cool. Why did Brian have to go? Like, I don't care. Why did this dude have to die?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it makes none of this makes sense.
How are we justifying people celebrating his death? So, like, we just had the verdict from the Daniel Penny case.
Mm-hmm.
Silent, are you familiar with this at all? So, this is more of a local, but it's a national story. A guy in New York was on the subway, well, a bunch of people were on the bus in the subway in New York, and this one dude, schizophrenic, smoked a bunch of crack. He's like high as hell, freaking out on a subway, and he's like threatening to harm everyone. He like breaks a 69-year-old lady's nose.
I thought it was
Something on her
semantic,
face,
yeah.
whatever.
Wow.
I thought it was like her nose, but anyway, jaw, whatever.
Yeah.
Breaks her face, and some dude is a veteran and just like jujitsu chokes him out.
Oh,
And he
shit.
ends up dying.
Oh,
So-
I think I've seen that video before. It's from a couple years ago, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
like
it's
about
been
a
a
year,
serious
yeah,
case, and the verdict
Yeah.
finally came back,
Mhm.
and people are in an uproar because just like the OJ case or anything else, we get blinded by, immutable characteristics that don't matter, and nobody's looking at the facts. It becomes a race thing, and the sad part is there are people of multiple races that benefited from the intervention of like this society member on the train that saved people.
Right.
And all those people are like, if you were on the subway, you would have wanted him to intervene. You definitely would have wanted his help.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, there are people just disgusted in, an addict who was harming people. His death is a tragedy.
Mm.
But in this instance, where it's a CEO who none of these people knew who he was, like the day before, nobody knew who he was. Nobody would have known that they even wanted his death. He gets murdered in cold blood. No trial, no justification, murdered. And people just justify it, and they're celebrating.
Yeah.
Full-blown celebrating. And the same people can live on both sides of that coin, where death in one, saving people, is a tragedy. But the death in this instance is glory.
And it's just like yesterday on Twitter was the most wild I've ever seen it since that submarine blew up. Very, like, obviously there are the funny jokes, and you can look at the funny jokes and be like, all right, people are having a little bit of fun here. But then there's some where it's like, this brings me such great joy to see this happen. It's like, this brings you joy, dude? Like, your joy. That's the word you want to use to describe a dude going to work, getting capped. Like, it makes no sense. It makes it like this whole like glorifying killing and like death in today's society really, really strange. And like you said, it's kind of the one side of the same coin that's really at least emphasizing it more. Because like I think most people in the middle or on the other side of that coin are kind of going like, I don't see a purpose to this, and I don't like that the conversation around it is like, I'm glad it happened.
Right.
Like there's this one former, I think she was for the Washington Post, maybe Taylor Lorenz. I'm sure like you've heard her name
everybody's
going.
been.
She was on like Piers Morgan and literally said like, I just felt like an immense sense of joy, and he immediately was like, joy? And she tried to walk it back. It's like, no, that's the word you chose. Like you thought about what you were going to say right there, and the word joy came out your mouth. Like you were thrilled that this happened. And then she like followed it up with and be like, I think a lot of these people should be like on notice. Like people are really upset. It's like, really? Like if I was any of these companies, my like leadership structure, anyone who has like a leadership role, don't even have their picture. Don't even have their name. You don't need to know who they are at this point. I don't want
a private company.
Yeah. I don't want these people now to know. Even if like, I guess if like you're a public company, like you have an IPO, like in the stock market, sure. Maybe like their name, but don't have their picture up there. Don't let these people be able to see photos now, because they will, as we've seen, like this could be a domino effect thing. I don't see it being that, but could be. And it's like, at the end of the day, a lot of these people, they're just going to work.
I mean, here's the scary part. Somebody like Silent's going to look down at us and go, this shit don't happen here. I mean, it does, but it's not allowed. Whereas like, this is an inevitable, like it's indefensible. In a country where everyone has guns and you can't really stop it, how do you stop a rogue person standing outside on the street? You just don't. Doug, you had your hand raised.
Well, no,
So
it's just what's crazy is like after all this, I was reading that like I guess a bunch of security companies are getting a lot of calls from CEOs who don't have security. Like we would think every CEO would probably have its own, but this guy didn't, and apparently
Right.
now everyone who didn't is getting their own.
Yeah. It's like I told you this morning. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, if I'm a CEO in any of these big companies in the world, especially now in big pharma, for instance, the next guy who got the call, an hour later, he's now the new CEO. I'd immediately be like,
Yeah.
$5 million raise, and just mainly for that is going to go towards security.
Yeah.
Then I'll take the job. I'll be the next CEO. If I'm in any of these CEOs, I'm demanding more pay and I'm demanding more security around me. Because if I know my life is now on the line because some random might just pop me for whatever reason, I guarantee I'm very curious if like more of this information comes out about the shooter, if he actually had a personal relationship at one point with a man he killed, or if it was just some random.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I haven't seen any of that. I've tried to
There's
avoid looking into this
some
more.
like there's some rumors. Like again, we really don't know enough yet to be reporting
Right.
on the show yet. But some of the things I've read was that he was denied coverage on a medical procedure.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, but between us girls, I'm very confident that is what they were going to tell us, even if that wasn't the case. I knew before we even knew that's what they were going to tell us.
Well, apparently United has like a really, really high claims denial rate, like the highest out of all these insurance companies is what I had been reading about recently.
But isn't this the
that's called
largest-
having the cheapest insurance? What do you people not understand? Like, what are you missing? It's like I worked at Sprint and assholes would come in here and be like, the service here sucks. And it's like, yeah, dude, I have AT&T. I have AT&T and you have Sprint.
Sprint speed,
Of
baby.
course you have the shittiest service. And they're like so mad. And it's like, well, then why don't you go to Verizon? Verizon claims to have it so much better. Oh, yeah, but then I'd be paying double. Yeah, and then you'd be paying double. So it's almost like if you had better insurance, they'd go, yeah, you know what? Get that double mastectomy.
But I'm confused. All right, this was an Ivy League kid. I don't know if he graduated. I'm sure if he did, probably smart kid, probably got a degree, probably had a job. Health insurance? Like, I'm confused here. What, like, and again, too early to be reporting. I can guarantee you whatever comes out, though, I don't think it's going to justify a public execution.
Yeah, it's not going to be satisfactory.
You know, like,
But again, for some people, no matter what the excuse is,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
going to be
it doesn't matter.
satisfactory.
it doesn't matter.
They're excited about it. Silent, what are your thoughts on this whole thing as we kind of
Okay.
bring it to a close?
There's a lot to say. First of all, 6 years ago, we had a very similar case happen to this, except it was two of the biggest, richest CEOs slash owners of a pharma company here, the Shermans. I don't know if you guys have heard of this story. It's like I said, it's like 6-7 years ago. But him and his wife, Barry Sherman and Honey Sherman, they both got murdered in their own house.
Oh, geez.
And they're both, like I said, CEOs and owners of one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies here in Canada. And until this day, by the way, nobody knows who did it, why they did it, or what was the whole reason behind it. And they have no suspects. They have no clue who has done it. Nobody knows anything. Not the police, not the RCMP, nobody. And so because of that incident, a lot of pharma CEOs here have had to start moving with security because previously, before this incident, they didn't. So, yeah, I won't be surprised if, like, moving forward, a lot of CEOs, especially pharma CEOs, will be moving with security because in the last few years, including that case in Canada, like, I think this is going to be, unfortunately, going to be something that might be a thing now. Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? But if it is, I think the people that do these things actually think, or the reason why there's joy, because they think that this is the way we change the system is, let's just eliminate the CEOs of these insurance companies. Then maybe that'll fix things. But in reality it won't, because as you guys said before, they'll just replace the CEO within like an hour of him passing. you know?
And then they end up spending more money on security instead of on their employees. So like it
Right. And
really
it's-
counteracts anything they want.
It's a vicious cycle, right? And then there's also the argument that this whole thing wouldn't even be needed if there was some sort of, centralized like Medicare or healthcare for everybody, right? Where you don't even have to rely on insurance companies, right? And in that case, you don't even have to wait to be approved or denied, or have good insurance to be afforded surgery or to be afforded the care that you actually need, right? But that's a whole other discussion. I think this thing, there's a lot more to it. I really hope that, unlike the incident that happened here in Canada, I really hope that more and more gets uncovered through, the 3-letter agency's investigations and all of that, because this might also just end up being like the case in Canada where we don't know who it is. At least there's a suspect in this case, right? And he might not even be the guy, right? They might be.
Right.
It might be someone that
That's-
looks like him, right? It might be someone like we said, like this kind of facial feature is very common, especially on like Italian Americans or whatever.
What makes you
And
say Italian? I think that's
Oh, I see it.
jury's still out.
I thought German when I saw
Just
that photo, honestly.
Luigi.
Well, just because
Luigi.
Luigi and I think I'm not sure who, but someone made a thread on Twitter about how apparently the reason that this person or the suspect that did this, allegedly he took some ayahuasca somewhere on a trip and then broke his back during that trip, and there was this
That's
whole
what it was.
again I don't know,
Only
this
his
is not
back.
confirmed. This is just a thread that I read on Twitter. So
They're like, "Oh, we'll cover you." Oh, you were tripping?
yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. They're like, no, too many drugs.
I'll
And-
get you. Me and Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers are gonna take you down.
right. And
Dude, this
and-
was his villain origin.
and as you
origin
guys
story.
said too, like this is an Ivy League kid, right? Meaning, even if he sucks, he's gonna land a job somewhere
Now,
just
what
because of
makes
the prestige.
You don't know what he does in his free time. Oh, like he stinks. He's no good. Gotcha.
We got gay jokes today, folks.
It's one of those things where it's just baffling, because there's a lot of people that get hired from Ivy League schools just because they went to Ivy League schools, and they may not even be good at what they do, but just because they went to that Ivy League school, they get hired, right? Like that happens a lot. That's very common. So even if he was denied that coverage, it's just weird. It's a combination of why would someone that's so successful and on such a right track,
But it also feels just like a coincidence. It could be a coincidental, series of facts that they're conjuring up. I mean, I'm sorry. This is not a unique face. Good looking face, not a unique one.
No, as I
Like-
said, they're very common features. Yeah.
There's a million of those bastards running around here.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in New
America?
York.
In New York,
Especially in New York.
100,000.
Especially in New York.
Dude,
No,
that's your
10,000 of those
That's your
guys.
typical Yankees fan if I've ever seen him.
Yeah, literally. Big old
Yeah.
eyebrows, a gabagool.
Oh, God.
Gabagool, yeah. Mhm.
Gabagool. Dude, he shot him and ran away.
But again,
Oh my God.
I'm not confident they know who it was. They
Yeah.
got someone that fits
I think so
it,
too.
and by the court
scapegoat
of
or
public
something.
opinion, they've already got who.
But why wouldn't this? I'm just okay. I agree. It might not be him. Why wouldn't this kid, dude? If they picked me up at a McDonald's and been like, it was him, I'd have been screaming. I didn't do nothing, dude.
Yeah.
You said, wait, what am I under arrest for? The murder of the CEO. I didn't do that. I didn't do that, dude. I would have been adamant. I do think at some point, personally, I think it was this kid. I think he wanted to be caught. I think that's why all of his social medias were nuked immediately. I saw a photo where his sister yesterday posted like a story with like him and her, and she was like praying for you. And and she's pretty hot. And so like people were like, wow, use your brother's assassination for clout. Respect, queen. So no, I do think it was this kid. I'm kind of with you that it was him, Mario, Bowser, and the Koopa Kids. Oh, he's got like a gang. They're all waiting to do their thing. I guess he took ayahuasca, decided to shoot up a CEO. I'm sure someone said based. And now, like, we were all here. And now we're just two idiots on a podcast talking about, like, was it really Luigi? I don't know.
We'll never know. We just got to leave it to the pros.
Dude, I wanted to start this, like, as a weekly files now. Like, let's do the Ouija update real quick and be like, still in jail.
Yeah.
That will be it for the next 2-3 years. That's how they'll do this.
2-3 years.
Well, at least until we know.
Or at least till they
6 years here and counting, by the way, in the case. And by the way, that was in their home too, inside their home, and there was cameras everywhere that caught everything, but they still don't know who it is.
See, that's wild. See, they're making it sound like this kid did something related to that, and it's like, no, I think Ouija, like I said, Ouija and the Koopa Troopas, they're waiting to do their little scheme. They think they're the Riddler, and they're not. And it's all going to come out, and R.I.P. Brian. R.I.P. I feel bad for this guy.
I'm telling you, no one knew his name.
Nobody did. Nobody did.
Silent, what are your rapping thoughts?
I think at the end of the day, right now, it's all very murky and hazy and unclear, and it's just going to take a lot of time. I hope that it doesn't actually end up being like the case that happened here, where it's, 6 years, 7 years later, and nothing has happened. I really hope that they solve this case and that they shut it down and they arrest whoever actually did it and whoever was behind it, because clearly this was a very, very targeted thing. It wasn't random. It wasn't just a lone person. I don't think it was, at least. And I think only time will tell, unfortunately, because right now, just the details that we have are just not clear. So hopefully with time, we could find out more.
I mean, that's where it lies. I think we flushed it out in its entirety, and where it all leaves is what we find out as this whole thing develops. Only time will tell. We got to wait for this whole thing to develop because, again, this is going to be piecemeal. We're only getting a little bit. It's still fresh. Doug, wrap-in thoughts.
I don't think this guy really accomplished anything. Like, he got his like view out there, but companies don't just stop functioning by killing a CEO. There's too many moving parts and too many dependent people on that company for it to just stop. So really didn't accomplish anything. That's my wrap-in thought.
I mean, it's true. So true. Talk about spinning your tires and getting nowhere. Moving on to the next topic. Doug, brace yourself because you're going to be a more central piece to this topic because Doug has some beef with Amazon drivers. We've had multiple topics, like recently, I think it was 2 episodes ago, we talked about protesters blocking the street. And one of the things, as we've been pulling apart the news and preparing our episodes lately, Doug just keeps broadcasting his frustration with Amazon drivers and these vans.
Not just Amazon, all those.
Okay, take it away. Doug, what's your frustration?
I make one comment and all of a sudden now I'm a whole topic here, I guess. No, it's just like, all right, we talked about, do protesters have a right to block traffic? We all, I think, agreed that they do not. And so like cops should really get them off the road, or you should be able to drive around, like whatever. We kind of
through them.
I never said that. I didn't say that.
No, he's saying that.
So like we all agreed they don't. Well, why is it that Amazon, FedEx, UPS can like block a road or like park in the middle of the like street, maybe a 1-lane street, 1-way street, whatever? Like they're allowed to just park there to run into someone's house. But like if we tried to park somewhere like that and just run in somewhere real quick, or park somewhere where it literally says no parking, somehow they get away with it and we get tickets. We're gonna get ticketed, but they don't. I don't think that, I don't know. I can't be alone that since they're a non-governmental agency, they are not the USPS, they are not police, ambulance, fire, they are not a city worker doing their job. They are a private company blocking public roads traffic. And I just don't think that should be allowed. I can't possibly be alone in this view, people. Come on.
I couldn't agree with you more, Doug. And first, I want to get feel of the climate in here. Silent, we can hear you too. Do we believe, because this is more of the element of why my focus is more towards Amazon and not just delivery drivers, because it feels like Amazon takes extra liberties than like FedEx and UPS and everything else. Like I don't think Amazon allows themselves the limitation of like traffic laws as much as FedEx naturally does. So, okay, if that can be like a standard of the point, one of the things I want to kind of like paint the stage with is if we have this fantasy of the American dream, right? Like tell me if I'm misguided, but this is what I thought I was sold the dream being. My grandfather herds goats in Eastern Europe, and he leaves the farms of like in the rolling moist hills of the mountains of Croatia and comes here, first Pennsylvania, then to Ohio, and they buy a property. Nothing's there. It's just land. Roads get built around it. They build a beverage store, a shopping center. It develops over the course of this immigrant's life, legal immigrant's life, builds 2 duplexes in the back, has, some would say the American dream is having these properties that you're able to run, make money to feed your family, and it sustains you, but also you can grow from. Okay, cool. The fact that my uncle, okay, so this is my grandpa. My grandpa did that. Cool story, right? Cool story, bro. The fact that my uncle, the property manager of the space, owns the property, right? He is one of the family owns this. We all own it. He is an owner of this thing. And it's just a local shopping center. So think of it's got a Subway, a Chinese restaurant, a dance studio, a cigar shop. Okay. My uncle parks his truck out front of a shopping center he owns. Think about that. There is no parking lot for you to enforce traffic laws. Again, it's private property. This isn't federal streets or state streets. You're on my property, my parking lot, which I've made public. But along the building is my file lane. So a cop trying to be tough is like jaw-jacking my uncle. My uncle is like jaw-jacking back as he's getting a ticket, and he ends up getting arrested. So think about, we live in a world where the property owner gets arrested parking his truck out front of his own shopping center. And yet, Amazon, I'm just delivering a package. Holy smokes, here, the cigar shop, they got a whole bunch of new pipes. I'm dropping them off. Just a quick drop off by Daddy Bezos. That's okay. Same parking spot, it be my uncle. Jail.
That's like exactly, dude. That's the point I'm getting. It's just they get away with doing this shit, but we as normal citizens can't. And they're not even like a government agency. And
Bingo.
so I want some equal justice here. All right, equal justice.
I'm just saying that guy went after the wrong CEO. I'm just saying, like, the wrong manifesto was written. These guys are parking in front of holy smokes, and I can't even park my own car here. No, I agree. I like your sentiment that started off with like it's mainly geared towards Amazon. Because I'll be honest, Doug, I don't have as much of an issue with like FedEx or UPS.
Not at all.
Well, be honest, you don't really see so much FedEx and
You don't
UPS
see it
now.
as
So,
often.
but it's still if you do see them, they're doing the same thing Amazon does. We just don't see them as much anymore because Amazon has taken over.
I just like Amazon. I see all the time on 2-way streets, on 4-way
Yes.
streets, and boy,
Pointing the wrong way.
They don't care. They don't care. I'm curious. Like the more you bring it up, like right, your uncle getting arrested, they don't. They get no repercussions. I'm curious if there's like a contract or something.
Well, let's take it a step further. Let's talk about the monopoly that the government has paid for for Amazon.
Mhm.
The fact that Amazon, like, so, well, I pay extra for Amazon Prime and I'm able to get it tomorrow. Like, you've been waiting for TikTok to send you your NeuroGum, and you forgot that regular postal service is
Dude,
not a day or two.
I'm not gonna get it by the time this fucking thing's banned, so I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna get it.
The
Period.
app will be banned and you still won't have your gum.
You know what's funny is like I sent my passport to get renewed. It got from here to Texas in like a day, and I didn't even pay for normal. Like I paid for normal shipping. So USPS ain't that bad, I think.
Yeah, no, right in the same vein. Continue.
I think it would depend on what you're shipping too, Doug, right? Like if you're a passport, giant bag of gum. I mean, how big is the bag? Would you get the big one or?
No, it was like the smaller one because that was like the only one available. Must have been like
Okay, so not that big of a package. So maybe it does travel fast. Okay, staying with the point though.
in 10 days.
TikTok, USPS, whatever you're using. USPS, not so much, right? Because that is going to stay on the same vein. I'm going to talk about Amazon because they're also subsidized by our tax dollars. But FedEx, all these others, you have to pay extra to get it there even faster. And their normal pace is, a couple days to a week, whatever. And the reason is we subsidize, and it keeps going up every year. So who knows what the cost it's at now? But it was, like 78 cents a package. But it's definitely gone up since then. Our tax dollars subsidize every package that's shipped by Amazon. So for every package Jeff Bezos is making money on, he's also getting the shipping subsidized by the government. So he can get it to you faster and make it like, again, a monopoly, being the leader in this industry. So when you sit here and you go, I wonder if they've got a special relationship. Oh, they do. They are tight.
But the federal government has no control over our city streets. We're a good city, man.
Your uncle needs to start being a little bit more chummy with my guess. What can I say?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the whole Amazon thing. Amazon is a multi-trillion-dollar company. They print money. They make a lot of money, right? And their drivers are under immense pressure to meet certain quotas, right, of delivery. Because I don't know if you guys have worked in Amazon before or know someone that has worked, but I know a lot of people that have worked in Amazon, and they tell me they have to deliver 300 to 400 packages every day. And they have a certain amount of time to do it. And each stop that they make, they have like X amount of seconds that they're allowed to actually, and this is all monitored, by the way.
Can I pitch you a Marvel concept here, though? The reality is, if Jeff Bezos, okay, remember that guy that couldn't show up on time to flip the cheeseburgers? Bezos hired him. He's got a license, or not really, but he got driving privileges from his probation officer, so he can be an Amazon driver. Yeah. If that guy was showing back up to work with 10 traffic tickets, Bezos would have to roll back that quota that's crippling them real quick.
Right.
Like if law enforcement was costing them so much, because right now the law is not being enforced on them. Like Will said, like
you want to know why?
Look the other way type deal.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because as I was getting to the point, but you didn't let me get to it, so let me get to it. The thing is, a lot of these guys, their turnover rate is extremely high, and Amazon knows this, so they take advantage of it. If you mess up, or like illegally park or illegally stop just to hit your quota, it's fine by them. But then the thing is, if you get caught and someone calls the cops on you, or you get a ticket, they just fire you and they hire someone new. Because Amazon knows there's enough desperate people that are already lined up to be an Amazon driver, because a lot of people don't care. They just want to make money, right? Amazon knows this. They know there's an infinite demand for these jobs, even though they're very shitty, they're very stressful.
You know how they can meet their quota and not get a parking ticket? Oh, I don't know, pull into the driveway they're delivering to instead of blocking traffic or parking illegally. Like there's a simple solution that they can still meet their quota
I agree.
and not get a ticket.
I agree, but the reality is they make so much money that the law does not apply to Amazon. When you are that big of a company, right? Laws and regulations that are put in place do not apply to Amazon. They don't,
Alex,
clearly.
can we
And
get
we
our
see
local
it,
mayor on?
right? And we see it. Like, you guys see it. Some of these guys literally block like entrances and exits to deliver packages and like crazy things like that. And they get away with it all the time. And I agree with you, by the way, Doug, just so you know. I absolutely think they should get towed, ticketed, tagged. Like, they should get in trouble because
That's
we get in trouble too, right? Like, if you park like that, you get towed immediately. Like, oh, you're in there for 2 minutes. Oh, now you're out and now your car's towed. But they don't. And it's just unfair. It's just the way the world operates, unfortunately. A big, large company knows there's enough drivers to where their drivers make mistakes, they'll just fire them and they'll replace them.
I gotta
And they
say,
know
I'm
that,
pretty
and they
glad I'm not
leverage that to their advantage, right?
I gotta tell you, I find it difficult to believe that that it's boom.
The first
When that-
line there makes sense. There is a trucker shortage for sure.
There's a trucker shortage, driver frustrations because they're independent contractors. It instead of hiring drivers directly, DSPS are responsible for hiring, managing, and terminating their own employees. Amazon says that the drivers are legally employees of the DSP and subcontractors to Amazon.
Yeah.
So again, that's how they're able to avoid all this fault.
That too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bingo.
They
right
use-
there.
They
It's
use
because they're
third parties.
independent contractors and
Yep.
they're not necessarily direct employees.
It's called last mile delivery, right? Like that's what they call it. Like, Amazon calls it last mile delivery, and they hire a lot of third-party companies. There literally is companies that exist just to service Amazon last mile delivery. And these companies make their money just via doing last mile delivery for Amazon.
I mean, I'm sure there's a big market for it.
Oh,
Well, and
huge.
It's showing, the starting salary is about $937 and it could get as high as $29.25.
Jesus Christ, driving one of those trucks for $9.37.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
that's
that's
nowhere
better
near
than
enough.
minimum wage.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but that's not a livable wage.
No,
Well,
it's not.
minimum
No.
wage isn't supposed to be a livable wage. We've had this
Over-
conversation on the show before.
Over
It's not supposed to be a
over
livable-
here, they get paid $1 more than minimum
Target.
wage. All those
I
last
would
mile
say-
guys.
Okay, I agree minimum wage shouldn't be a livable wage, but Doug, driving an Amazon truck should be a livable wage.
Right, of course. That's not an easy job. Like I said, these guys do like 200 to 400 packages in
Right.
4 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
$9.37.
It's a crazy job. Yeah. I
That's
honestly,
ridiculous.
personally, I wouldn't even do that job for $40 an hour. Me personally.
Right.
I
I'd
really
do it for
wouldn't.
40,
I
sure.
really wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't, because the stress. Like, imagine you have to drop off 400 things in 4 hours. Like, just try to do the math in your head.
That's
on
Santa
that
Claus.
and how crazy that is. But that's the reality for a lot of these drivers. They have to do that every day, including Christmas, by the way,
That's ridiculous. That
Santa
should not be.
and other
allowed.
holidays. It should not be. I totally agree. But that's what Amazon is, right? Because of Prime. Like, Prime has ruined the expectations of people. Instead of, hey guys, you ordered this, wait 2 to 5 business days. Instead, oh, I want it now in the next 2 hours.
It's one of those situations where we know what to look at. Like, we know what the problem is. And yet we also know why nothing's being done about it. Before I wrap up my thoughts, Silent, do you want to add anything else before we close the topic?
Yeah, one last thing. I totally agree with Doug. I totally think that all of these drivers should be tagged, towed, ticketed. They should face the consequences of the law. It should actually apply to them also. But I also think at the same time, the reality is they won't. Because as I said before, Amazon just makes so much money. And there's so much of these third-party last mile delivery companies that pop up that if a certain company messes up for Amazon and doesn't deliver and doesn't give Amazon exactly what they want, there's a whole lineup of companies and other even drivers too that are ready and willing to do whatever it takes to deliver those 400 packages in 4 hours.
No, you're 100% right. What I see is you there's clear need for intervention, but I'm always reluctant to call for intervention, especially if who does that? The state. Well, they're not normally good at that. So what I don't like here is the dynamic where they're independent contractors, but they're held to an unreasonable quota, and yet how do you change that? A competitive market. Oh wait, but you've eliminated an ability for a competitive employer to be able to provide more reasonable working situation, I guess. But what I would like to see, because of this dynamic, the driver is responsible but has no control over the unreasonable workplace expectations, like Silent saying 400 packages. That's crazy. How do you fix that? I think the intervention, instead of being what the government normally would do, which is, really just start enforcing traffic laws and making independent, regular, hardworking people pay for it. And then, like Silent said, we're just cycling through people. They get fired and we get new ones, and they get fired. And so, or they quit because they can't afford all the citations and in the workplace environment. What I'd like to see the intervention be, if your drivers get a ticket, we are declaring they are operating as an agent of you as the whole. So even this loophole of them being independent contractors is null and void for them being a direct agent of Amazon. And regardless of the license plate and the independent driver contracted to driving it, Amazon the agent, because the courts have declared that corporations are individual entities like people too. If they get to vote, bitch, you get to be held accountable like a driver. If you're going to be a hive nest of drivers all the way across the country, and you get to vote, that means, bitch, you get traffic laws. They apply to you. And so if you're going to create a system where en masse, all your folks are getting tickets because your standard's way too unreasonable, well, make you financially responsible, and very quickly you will change those standards that are making them operate this way. What are your wrapping thoughts?
I think you nailed it. I don't see how this is something that is fixed. I don't see law enforcement doing anything to enforce anything. And once again, Amazon has found a way to use loopholes to just kind of get through all of this. I mean, I use Amazon frequently. I have Amazon Prime. Not even ashamed to say it. Love it. Work through it. I don't even think the drivers are real people.
Yeah.
Because, and especially now finding out they're independent contractors, it's like, oh, this isn't changing. It'll probably get worse.
Yes, it'll get worse.
And I looked it up on my phone. They said like the turnover rate is like 150%. It's like double the national average. And it's like,
wow,
they don't care. It's a company that does not care. And it's a true monopoly.
And low key, we don't care.
No.
Because you're pissed how long your gum's taking, and you wish you bought it through Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. Doug, I'm against you, I guess.
Rapid thoughts.
Well, my rapid thought is, Alex, I gotta say, you actually kind of summed up what my rapid thought was. Kind of just like, I want something to change. I don't necessarily want to have to intervene. Like, I don't like the idea of that, but something I think should change to make it more fair. And like, one thing is, it's like, they should treat these employees as part of Amazon. Amazon should have to take the blame for anything the drivers get done for. But there is all this stuff about independent drivers, like Uber in, what was it, California? Like they were voting on making like Uber have to make all of them actual Uber employees versus independent contractors. Well, maybe we do need to make Amazon drivers part of Amazon so that Amazon takes some responsibility for the shit their drivers are doing.
Oh, that'd be such a blessing.
But sadly, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think we need it.
No, I agree totally.
And I got to say, I'm actually pretty surprised that everyone except for Will kind of agreed with me on this. When you singled me out, I was like, oh man, Alex must like really disagree and gonna have some counterpoints. But it's like, No, he actually had the story about his uncle and agreed with me. So, all right.
Doug, I agree with you. I just don't. We all kind of came to the same. I don't know what can be done.
Nothing
If
can be
these are
done, and
independent
I
companies-
like the benefits of this
Yeah,
cruel
like
company.
I reap the benefits that this monopoly does. Like it'd be hypocritical of me. I don't. I get why it's annoying that they park on the street.
like, take a look at how much our society changed the moment we could get everything we want tomorrow.
Oh, the South
right?
Park episode was nailed it right on the
It-
head.
Well, so
Mhm.
think about how that evolutionized our society. Just wait until Amazon's fleet of drones get them to you in an hour.
But then,
Mhm.
but then at least they're not blocking my damn streets. All right.
Hey, honestly, we just had this whole discussion. Bring out the drones.
Yeah, bring out the
Bring out
drones,
the
baby.
drones. We don't care no more.
Easy solve. Doug's happy. No more beef, just chicken.
Dog. Oh, fuck the independent contractors, man. Just send that thing in my living room.
Yeah, yeah. Now we have an unemployment force like we've never seen. But
Turnover rate. What turnover rate?
what turnover
But at
rate?
least our streets will be quiet and peaceful for a change.
Dude, they'll be so much worse. You're just going to hear
Dude, Doug,
all throughout the
the
skies.
instant the drones are allowed, one of them is going to malfunction and slam into the side of your car, and you're going to pray to Christ that you see a truck out there next time.
But see, no. But then it's an Amazon drone. How can they say a drone is an independent contractor? So then it would be Amazon's fault. And
Yeah,
Doug's
touche.
going for
Yeah.
Bezos, baby.
Yeah.
Shit, man, I'll give you that
You owe
one.
me money, Bezos.
I don't
All right.
see how they could say it's not their fault when it's a drone and not an independent contractor. Just
I
say.
guarantee you that's why we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Flip it over. Prime. Oof. All right, here we go. Last topic of the day. Ohio Supreme Court stands by the quote asinine ruling that boneless chicken wings do not mean without bones. This is crazy to me. Okay. This went to the Supreme Court. Then they appealed it again to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court was like, no. We want to double down. Chicken wings, boneless chicken wings, has no expectation of it not having wings. Now, first off,
Wings or bones?
okay. Who taught these justices English? Like, everybody knows double negative is just poor writing. Go back to the drawing board.
Dude, even in math, it means positive.
I think it means positive, but everybody knows you don't write with double negative. Just speak positively. So what is the positive statement here? That there is, I mean, I don't know how you say this.
What is the definition of is?
There is not an expectation of, this is crazy, not having, but if I was ordering boneless chicken wings, which again isn't even a chicken wing, it's a chicken nugget covered in sauce. Who are we kidding?
Just say nugget. Jesus Christ. It's the chicken nugget. Chimkin nuggies. What are you, Baby Yoda? Come on, man.
Again, that's what people like Doug order at a restaurant
I love
and act like
boneless.
they're an adult.
Doug,
I don't want to be all messily eating a wing, you know? Like,
Oh, eat crow.
So
Chicken
I like
wings
my
taste
boneless
amazing.
chicken wings, but I don't care if someone looks at me and says it's a tender. Like, Doug, you get up in arms about that?
Yes,
no,
he does.
I love my boneless whatever, man. I don't want to
You
No, no, no,
like
I'm saying-
your
I'm saying-
sauce-covered nuggets.
No. I'm saying I understand. I like a boneless chicken wing as much as the next guy. But do you not like it if you're like, I would like a boneless chicken wing, and they go like, oh, a chicken tender? Do you look at them and like want to like, you know?
Hell no. I freaking love chicken tenders. I order those at places all the time. Who
Oh, but-
cares?
Okay, fair.
Okay, so
Valid.
again, we agree. They're yummy.
He wants
sure.
Amazon drones and chicken tenders.
Chicken wings
I'm
are
a simple
better.
man, all right?
Chicken wings are better. I'm gonna die on that hill.
Yeah.
But even if they're not,
Yeah.
they're manlier.
Someone get this man a bib.
They are messy because they're fun. But also, I don't know a world where I order boneless chicken wings. Like literally, I attorneys, but like judges, they're in the business of definitions. And you want to look at, I mean, this is a failure of the predominant Republican Ohio Supreme Court, in my opinion. I don't know how you look at the word boneless and somebody could reasonably have the expectation that they're contracting for something that might have a bone. So I don't think I perfectly articulated the case itself. A man ordered boneless chicken wings, and choked on a bone. And they won't let him sue. They barred his suit because there is not a reasonable expectation that boneless chicken wings would not have a bone.
But yet
Doug.
somehow we let McDonald's get sued because some old woman burned herself with coffee, not expecting it to
but
be
it was
hot,
like an absurdly hot temperature.
But come on. I think
Right.
that's
And
dumb.
she at least knew she was getting coffee. This guy said, "No bones, please. I'm a Doug. Hold the bones."
I don't know why Doug's catching a stray in that.
I know.
Thank you, Will.
Here,
Thank
bring it back
you,
to me.
Will.
Bring it back to me. Hey, I'm a Will, and I didn't expect to have a bone in my chicken wing.
I'm just saying, if I eat a boneless chicken wing and there's a bone in it, I'm turning into the UnitedHealth kid. All right, I'm just saying, there will be hell to pay. At 90 degrees, I don't care.
and yet, the Ohio Supreme Court, nah.
I've actually had that happen to me before,
What's your
where I
ruling?
ordered a
Nah.
chicken wrap, and there was a bone in the chicken wrap.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
That was-
where did you get the chicken rack? McDonald's?
So no, there's a very famous chain in Canada here called Swiss Chalet, and they're like a
Sounds fancy.
It's supposed to be, right? It's like a rotisserie chicken chain across Canada. You go there, they have like ribs, steak, rotisserie chicken. So I'll never forget this. I ordered the chicken wrap, and there was a bone, like a massive bone inside the chicken wrap, and I almost choked on it. And yeah, it was not fun. And I had been there. That was my first time there ever. And then I went there a second time, and the exact same thing happened, except this time I didn't get a chicken wrap. I also got like chicken tenders this time, right? But nope, there was a bone in there too.
Well,
Bones in a chicken tender.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that's
was
just
crazy.
wrong.
I couldn't
I'm
believe
just
it.
saying a fast food chain in Canada. I'm just picturing Clerks 4. And he hands this guy his wrap. He's like, see, that guy just got boned.
Yeah, yeah. No, I got boned like twice.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
I've never been to Swiss Chalet since then. Both times, never been.
Oh, they miss you. They have
That's
wishbones
it.
waiting.
You always hear about these places like at fast food joints, right? Like, I'm curious, what was the restaurant for the boneless chicken wings? Did you happen to catch the name of it? Is it like a
Oh.
chain?
Oh, well, so
Well,
Or-
Buffalo
again,
Wild Wings has been under fire for this at one point, I know, but I don't think this was a B-Dubs lawsuit. But I know they were like,
I
go
know
to
this
court.
wasn't the winking lizard because they would never. They would never.
it really doesn't provide, here's now. It really doesn't provide the restaurant, but the boneless chicken wings decided by the Republican justices who held describing the cooking style of the wings, quote, a reasonable consumer could have reasonably anticipated and guarded against the bone at issue in this case. Whoa. That's not for you to decide. That you are barring the civil suit from even being tried because you're saying a boneless chicken wing could reasonably have a bone, but then you're saying he should have this is like lawyer semantics. But when you say reasonably, he should have reasonably anticipated and guarded against the bone at issue. Well, in a negligence situation like this case, that's for the judge or the jury to decide. What the Supreme Court's supposed to be doing at this stage in the process, their role here, is to decide the law that which can be applied. They're saying we're barring you from even trying this because it's an
Oh,
an
I found the
unbound
name.
case. What?
I found the name of the
Oh, cool.
restaurant. It is Wings on Brookwood, apparently in Hamilton, Ohio.
Classic, dude, right outside Miami. Those hillbillies were like, get them. I'll put a chicken wing in there.
Honestly, now I'm judging them for not getting boned in wings.
Yeah,
You
seriously.
live in Hicktown. Come on, man. I'm a little
Hamilton,
priss.
Ohio.
I'm a little priss. I went up to the Winking Lizard. That's different. That's classy.
So what's funny is this decision was getting ridiculed by Stephen Colbert and made the news and was a whole thing. And then they reopened it, and that's when they came back 4-3 again, saying, "No, we confirm. We confirm. You should have expected bones in your boneless chicken wings."
Idiot.
But one of the quotes I want to throw in here wrote Democrat Justice Michael P. Donnelly, "If the public cannot trust the judiciary to be faithful in the small things, like whether boneless can reasonably be understood as, I don't know, not including bones, how can the judiciary be trusted with the greater things?" I mean, that I think is the mic drop. Like, they're looking at it as, funny, like, people like Stephen Colbert. This is funny little internet semantics. No, or, legal semantics. But no, it has a greater ripple effect. And the truth is, if I can't see them take it serious and or apply the laws correctly in the little things like a chicken bone, I'm supposed to, expect you to really know or apply the law accurately or safely when it's my body, my choice, or my jail, or, how you educate my kids. Like, I don't know. There's so many other greater things that if you can't figure out boneless means no bones, then, like, where are we at? You're in the business of definitions.
Where has my country gone?
What do words mean anymore?
It's just like these Supreme Court justices. They sound like just the absolute worst people at a party.
Yeah.
Like
You wouldn't
you're
wanna party with
arguing.
them.
Right? Yeah, I wanted the boneless wings, and they hand you one with a bone in it and start smirking, and you just kind of look down at it and look up at them and be like, "This is why you don't get invited places, man. This is why."
Well, and here's the thing. What kind of chicken nugget were they using, calling a boneless wing? Like, let's be real. Are they really taking chicken breast, grinding them up, adding egg, a little bit of flour, and making nuggies?
Nope.
No. They're buying a big-ass bag of Tyson,
I was just thinking that too.
dropping some Sweet Baby Rays all over that shit, and they're like, boneless chicken wings.
What was the name of this place
So-
again?
It was like Wings on Brookwood in Hamilton.
Yeah.
Ohio.
It doesn't even have a second
Hole in the
word.
wall dive bar. You think grandma's in the back making homemade nuggies? No.
She went to Aldi's.
Yeah, she went to Aldi,
Yeah.
got a bag of Tyson. And again, if you held true accountability, just follow the line up. Like, it doesn't have to be the hole in the wall in Hamilton that gets accosted with, $1 million lawsuit. Maybe then they get this. There's a whole section in the civil rules of procedure where it's or the rules of civil procedure where you can literally, I don't know, add a co-defendant or a co-plaintiff where it's just like, okay, you're suing me for this, great, because I'm suing Tyson for keeping a bone in the way. Like, okay, so they let a little bit too much of the chicken go in the grinder, and Bob in Ohio choked on a wang. Guess what? Tyson should be accountable too.
Hashtag justice for Bob.
Ohio Bob.
He's not even a real person. He's just an idea. Ohio
That's
Bob.
right. That's what we do here in the Rethink Tank.
Ohio Bob got screwed by Tyson.
Now take that one to the bank. All right, Silent, rapid thoughts. We're gonna go around the ringer here.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, like you said. Like, they are literally they're a huge part of their job is like accurate definitions. They clearly fumbled the bag on this one. If I'm ordering boneless chicken wing or a chicken tender or a chicken wrap, I do not expect to find bones in my chicken, unless it's a rotisserie chicken or a grilled chicken, like our half chicken, or specifically a chicken that has not been modified or battered and deep fried and sauced. Then yeah.
What if you got your rotisserie chicken And I called it. I go, hey, Silent, guess what I got for you? A boneless rotisserie chicken. You take a bite of that
Imagine.
bitch and you get a bone.
Right,
Are you-
immediately.
You're like, oh, you know what? I was expecting that. That was my anticipation.
Yeah.
Was the bone in the boneless rotisserie
And the
chicken?
boneless- Which, by the way, that is actually a thing. I'm pretty sure.
There you go.
There is rotisserie chicken that is boneless. Like
And
actually,
Doug would be pissed.
that's been mechanically, removed the meat from the chicken and then they just shape it. Yeah. The point is, if it's boneless, I don't expect bones. Period. That's just what it is.
That's right.
Like, I'm sorry. Like they fumble this. Like, this is a massive fumble on their end. Clearly, boneless means no bone. So no bone when I put the meat in my mouth. Please, thank you.
The real question comes down to how high of an education do you need to understand linguistics? Like Silent hammers it home perfectly. Boneless does not mean I was expecting bones. So I do find this to be an utter failure of the Ohio Republicans. How there's even a split. Like, this shows it's straight politics. 4 red, 3 blue. It's split 4-3 both times. And you're telling me all 4 people that won the majority are like, oh yeah. If you were selling me something boneless, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bone in there.
Fucking dork.
So again, if you're going to be the top of the heap, the beacon of truth, and you deal in the business of definitions, and boneless means the potential of having a bone, we're living in 2 different realities, and you need to lose your king chair. What are your rapping thoughts?
This would never happen at the Winking Lizard.
Because I'm anticipating the bone.
I'm just thinking, again, kind of goes off what you and Silent said. You're never expecting bone. Don't you say hey, I'd like traditional wings?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Throw it to the Supreme Court. I'm sure they'll be like, oh, obviously no bone.
Yeah.
No, I think I love the idea that people went to school for however long they did, spent all that time to get onto the Supreme Court just to completely botch a ruling about boneless chicken wings. You strive high. Justice for Bob. And I'm with Doug. I like my boneless chicken wings. They're good. I like a good traditional wing. Don't get me wrong, but the boneless wings are better. Get a little garlic parm with Tennessee Nashville honey on it. Can't beat it.
2 nuggy boys. All right,
Guy gets it.
Doug, rapping thoughts.
I just don't understand when the English language changed and boneless started meaning there's a chance of bone.
Yeah.
I just must have missed that English class in school. I mean, I know I've been out of school for a few years, but could it have really changed that much?
It's just so funny being the top of the lawyer hill. You are the king of English, the study. And as Doug says, you go to 3rd grade English. Okay, the suffix less means not having. Now, 0, no, bad, gone, 0. Doesn't exist. No expectation. So if you put, I don't know, waterless, you have no water. Gusherless.
Sugar-free.
Sugar-free. No. Less. Bone less. You're going to have bone. Again, it's ridiculous.
Alex, I'd be really curious what your judge that you work for would have to say on this. Like, being a judge,
She'd probably agree with the Democrats and go that this is kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb.
It is kind of dumb. I have to
I can't believe 4 Republicans are this stupid. But here we
like,
are.
Here.
Here. Shocker. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. We go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. If we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best you can do to support this show is share this episode. Spread the link around. If you liked it, that means someone else will too. To help support what we're doing here, the best thing you could do is hit that like button. It really helps us out. But thank you to everybody that joins us for the live show and jumps into the comments to add another dynamic to the show, because that's the whole purpose of doing this. So again, thank you. And we have all these different shows from our Sunday show. Doug and I, Will's part of the Sunday football show. And before that, we have our reactions channel where we watch funny internet videos. So you could catch all that on Rethink Actions. We got different shows like So Here's Where I'm At. You can find it all in one central place, and that's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. But otherwise, guys, we appreciate you joining us. And like I said, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So we'll catch you next week. Peace.